Alright, so when we sweep down, our collision is straight down is just fine. I mean, our params here, what do we got set? Find initial overlaps is true again. Where is the collision? The collision distance is 0.05. And we collided with what the hell did we collide with? We collided with ourselves? What? The collided component was a paper physics component, body. What? Okay, the colliding component is the thing that we collided with, so let's see. The collision is hit Sub-Zero was a hit on floor 107. Right. So let's see. The collision. The collision hit. We hit two things. We hit floor 197 and we hit floor 41. And look, floor 197, we started penetrating. We started by penetrating, so. And floor, so 197 and floor 41. We're supposedly already penetrating floor 197, and it's a blocking hit. Let's see, the distance is 0. Wait, what? Time is 0, distance is 0 for this hit. This is interesting because I thought the definition of the sweep component in direction screwed it up. So we're doing component sweep multi, and we're passing in the out hits primitive position. Primitive component, position end, rotation. The hell are the differences between these two functions? Sweep the geometry of the split component, determine the set of components that it hits. Out hits contains blocking entries. So if we go to world.h, the out hits is the array of hits found between ray and world. I thought the final hit inside of this, so it's like well, I'm trying to find the definition of this thing. So supposedly the final, like, it should stop on the first blocking hit is what's supposed to happen with the hits array, but the problem is so we go through all the shapes. And then we do this physics out hits. And out hits is 2. And both are blocking hits. Which is crazy to me. Like, we should not be getting multiple blocking hits in our array. So they must be doing two checks, and what I should do in my array is, God, this is annoying. Our physics code is actually wrong, is what it's looking like. Because we're grabbing like, I think it's our movement object code that's wrong. It's a movement utils. So what we actually want to do is we want to iterate through our blocking hits. So we're going to go like for f result hit inside of in hits. So if hit blocking hit, then like blocking hit equals hit and break. Do we ever actually use any of these hit arrays? Doesn't look like we ever actually use any of these hit arrays. It's just here. So is this just a bad assumption? Well, the physics were running well before, but it's, you know, we did update our Unreal version and blah blah blah. Like, we were having some trouble with some penetrating objects. Just because they were running before, it's probably that we have a new use case, right? Like, this is a, you know, something going down a slope, or some object that's doing something that we did not expect it to be doing before, which is causing something else to go wrong. In this case, it looks like the assumption that we'll only ever have one blocking hit is wrong. So the question is now, it looks like that did fix the other problem, but we have another thing here where our impact normal was, we impacted with the right inside of this object. Now flying when was on ground, stick was this, extra stick was that. So 518. So movement direction vector was So I don't know. It seems as though the overlap movement object call is just not working. Like, because we're definitely overlapping, so maybe we need to change the overlap movement object to do a sweep instead, because the sweep actually seems to be actually getting the real freaking value of if we're colliding with something. So I mean, we could change the overlap movement object check to do a sweep instead. It's probably less efficient. So the impact distance was 0. The slide normal was well, this is kind of how working on physics code always goes. Is you start fixing something, something else breaks, blah blah blah. And the reason for all this is because we're not using like an actual grid physics system. We're trying to use an analog physics system. And at some point it might just be like, to hell with this analog physics system. Everything needs to be in a goddamn grid. Because this sort of crap right here, where we're dealing with all these edge cases with numbers, is just stupid. So the impact normal was 0, 1, 0. The slide normal was 0, 1, 0. Movement direction was directly to the right. So our impact normal was straight up, our slide normal was straight up, and our movement direction was to the right. And somehow we were flying? Our movement direction vector was straight up. No, sorry. The impact normal was to the right. So we impacted this wall. So we were already inside the wall. So somehow we got into the wall, and that's what's screwing up the entire thing. So something's going on with this overlap movement object function, which is not actually properly checking if we're overlapped. So I mean, I guess the thing that I could do here is are we ever using the hit from this thing? Let's see if we're actually using it. If not, what we can probably do is try to swap this with a sweep test. Or if there's some way we can expand the hull for this overlap component test would be the other thing that we can do. So it looks like we never used that hit. Let's see, trace complex, find initial overlaps. we have the position, and we have well, parent. Like, I don't see any sort of inflation variable that we can use. So what we're going to have to do is go to our movement utils, and we're going to do a sweep component ester. And we want the G down sort of thing going on. And we'll see if I guess the overlaps don't work. Like, we've been through a lot of physics shenanigans with Unreal where certain things just give inconsistent results. Like, the overlap test here, I would assume would work for things that are already overlapping. And I thought we already went through some of this where something was wrong with kind of what we were doing, and it ended up like just the object was screwed up or something. Like, it didn't have collision set, or something was just wrong on the actual object. So, and I looked through them, and I didn't see anything that was like messed up that had been messed up before. So maybe I missed it, or I'm going crazy. But oh no, what's going on here is We're climbing up the wall. It may be that the overlap check is working properly. It's that our normal was correct. We were just like we're printing out our movement direction vector. Let's see. Moment sweep collision normal. So let's see if we're actually flying up the wall or not. No, gravity is not out of whack. I changed the simulation. And it looks like changing that makes it so it never happens again. I'm working on that not happening. And the slide normal is 1. Because our collision hit at distance of 0.5 was the impact normal was at z of 1. And the slide normal is y of 1. Alright, yeah, we should do the start penetrating. Alright. Maybe we can fix that slide normal stuff that's screwed up. No, we're just having problems with the collision stuff, Focus. It's just, the overlap test doesn't appear to be properly working, and we're getting stuck into an object that we just like ran into for some reason. And the sweep test appears to be working, but it's basically when there's some degenerate case here for our object where we can get stuck inside of something. The slide normal, the impact normal was 0, 1, 0, which is the impact normal was facing out, so the impact normal must have been this object. How the fuck did we get inside of this object? So supposedly we collided with floor 41. This is floor 197, this is floor 41. So when we cast a vector straight down, we're colliding with floor 41 first. Well, it's always frustrating when our physics engine is lying to us and saying, oh, you're colliding. Oh, you're not colliding. Ah, you're colliding now, but you're not colliding then. It's like, are we colliding or not? Like, give me a consistent fucking answer. Because, like, the overlap check, going through every component in our components, we're doing a sweep. And saying, are we actually printing off that we're stuck? I don't think so. No. Wait, we are printing off that we're stuck. Well, thanks for your comments, Rushroll, but it's, we're not, we have our own little physics stuff, so we're moving this thing. We're not, like, having gravity, like the physics engine gravity, mess with us. So it's nothing like that. The running animation doesn't have anything to do with it. Like, all the animations are just kind of syntactic sugar on top of the box that's moving around. So it only is, like, really, we're only looking at this. We're only looking at these collision boxes that are here. So the animation really doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just a collision box. So we are actually getting a few we are stucks. It's all 442, so it's all this one. And We are not getting that on the previous frames. Well, if it has anything to do with the animation, we can disable some of that. Alright, so it does look like it actually has something to do with the animation state changes with the physics box. Maybe, maybe not. We are stuck, we are stuck, we are stuck. It has to do with turning around? Okay, so maybe it has to do with turning around. Print out random characters, yeah. Well, if you don't have things that actually mean things, you're not gonna be able to figure out what the hell's going on sometimes. So it looks like it might have something to do with switching directions. Interesting. So the changing of directions here is not using our other one, it's using our physics utils overlap component S. So this may be another situation where the overlap call is incorrect and the sweep call is correct. So we want to go to our movement utils and do our So, yeah, it just looks like the sweep component actually works properly and overlap component doesn't for some reason. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Because we're sweeping with the zero vector. Is anybody actually calling check if stuck? Only this place is calling check if stuck. Yeah, a lot of games have exactly what you're talking about, Lucas, with the, pixel perfect collision. There's a lot of ways to accomplish it. Like, if you have a sprite, you can just, draw the sprites to the screen and see if, any sprites draw on top of each other. Stuff like that. There's, painter's collision. There's all sorts of ways to do it. You can have, even more convex hulls all over the place. Specifically for the movement stuff, we don't want to use absolutely perfect collision for stuff just because it's not gonna feel right for a platformer. Like, we want perfect or very close to perfect collision for things we're standing on. But for the character itself, it's a lot better if the character is, kind of like Mario and just again we're stuck. So what should we even do about this? This is kind of insane. The physics engine is not saying that we're stuck one frame and then it's saying we're stuck the next frame. Because we've got at the end of this update locomotion on ground, we've got this get our position, and we are never seeing this fire off. We're never seeing the overlap movement object with our position actually get called post tick. But we're seeing it called the next frame. So it must be something to do with getting stuck with it must also be this overlapping with world or something like that. We'll just have to replace all of these things with these sorts of things. Just be like, nope, we can't do overlap checks. You have to do a sweep with a 0 vector in the down direction. What a ridiculous thing. Insane that we're actually getting it. It must be something to do with, yeah, the animation must be changing